Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Shalwa Agustia with the number A1B223004 from class R002. Okay, here I will present my SLA project about my journey in learning a second language and autoethnographic reflection. Introduction. For me, acquiring a second language has been both a rewarding and difficult experience. My experiences are influenced by the cultural and social factors that affect my motivation, development, and identity in addition to the language difficulties of learning new vocabulary, grammar, and pronunciation. Through this reflection, I aim to investigate how my learning experience has been influenced by several external elements, including the sociocultural context, classroom dynamics, and my identity as a learner. I want to learn more about how this approach has affected my path as a language learner by relating these personal experiences to the theories of second language acquisition. Number one is initial exposure and motivation. Since learning a second language was required at my school, I was first exposed to English outside of the classroom. Though I frequently heard English spoken on television and in my community, which caught my attention. Motivation is important in SLA. There are two forms of motivation: instrumental motivation, which involves learning for practical purposes, and integrative motivation, which consists of learning to connect with a culture. My motive in this instance was more integrative since I wanted to know the cultural background of the language and establish a connection with the English-speaking society. I was fascinated by the music, food, and tradition, and learning the language felt like a gateway into a richer cultural experience. I saw myself as someone who could join in discussions, interact with native speakers, and fully immerse oneself in cultural activities without feeling separated. My learning process was driven by the idea that I was linguistically and culturally related to the English-speaking world. Dernier 2009 also emphasizes the importance of a learner's motivated self-system in maintaining language acquisition. I persevered through the difficulties of learning vocabulary and mastering grammar because of my ideal second language self, a picture of myself speaking English well and taking part in international conversations. Number two, linguistic challenges and breakthroughs. I found it difficult to learn English, particularly when it comes to pronunciation. Certain English consonants, such as the TH in thing or this, were entirely unfamiliar to me and quite challenging to pronounce correctly. I had to practice a lot, and although it was annoying at first, I found that my performance improved the more I listened and repeated. It brought to mind what I heard about Flagg's 1995 speech learning model, which states that with regular practice, learners can get better at sounds that are removed from the initial language. Grammar was another big challenge because English contains a large number of irregular verbs and auxiliary verbs like do, does, and will. It was challenging to remember the proper form. My native language doesn't operate that way, consequently that was confusing. But as time went on, I started to notice trends, particularly after seeing actual cases in films, TV series, and books. Because Krashen's 1982 input hypothesis states that learners grow better when they receive input that is just a little bit beyond their current level. This exposure improved my understanding of grammar. I also found that my biggest improvements happened during conversations. Talking to English speakers, even when I made mistakes, helped me learn faster. This interaction gave me the chance to practice what I had learned in a natural way, and I started to feel more confident using the language. Number three, sociocultural context and classroom dynamics. My experience studying English was significantly influenced by the sociocultural setting. The majority of the classes in school were on translation and grammar. Although this provided me with a solid basis, I felt that there were not no changes to practice speaking and engaging in real conversation. I discovered additional opportunities to use the language informally outside of school, such as conversing with visitors and participating in the internet forums. These exchanges gave me a more hands and on approach to learning English. The advice I received from those who knew English better than I did was one item that really helped. This made me think of what Vygotsky 1978 refers to as scaffolding, in which more experienced people support you until you can function independently. With their support, I eventually developed the confidence to compose essays and even participate in conversation on my own. Technology was also a bigger part of my learning process. I use apps and websites to improve my listening and pronunciation, which we did not practice much in school. According to Warshauer 1996, technology makes language learning more interactive and personalized, and I found this to be true in my experience. It gave me tools to learn at my own pace and practice skills I needed the most. Number 4, personal growth and identity formation. In addition to improving my language skills, learning English changed who I am. I started to think of myself as a bilingual person who could move between different cultural contexts. Norton's 1995 idea of investment found an emotional connection with my own situation. She claims that identity and social goals are linked to language acquisition. My ambition to engage in international discussions and take advantage of more changes were reflected in my investment in English. My appreciation for my mother tongue has also grown as a result of this adventure. I became more aware of its complexities and cultural significance by comparing linguistic structures, which made me feel proud of my history. And the last is conclusion and reflection. When I think back on my experience learning a second language, I see the significant influence of linguistic difficulties, personal drive, and social factors. Growth was facilitated by the interaction of integrative motivation, scaffolding, and intelligible input. My experience had been improved by interaction with real materials and technology. This autoethnographic perspective emphasizes the personal transformation that language learning involves in addition to the applicability of SLA theories. It has made me a more sympathetic and globally aware person by highlighting the fact that language serves as a bridge to understanding as well as a means of communication. That's all from me. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.